Program deals with Ramadan preparation mostly, and so this Ramadan will be very close to what we would call a normal Ramadan. We're going to have food and prayer, and we'll have the Masjid open for all the 5 prayers, and we'll also have it open for itikaf at the end of the month. Hopefully won't nobody give me one of them $100 bills that I still got it. You remember that $100 bill?
I watched the whole exchange go down.
Yeah, that was.
I can see the whole thing happen at a distance over there.
Yeah, and I'm you kind of knew what was happening.
I knew what was happening. You
Okay.
could tell how you kind of your
Yeah.
reaction to it.
Yeah.
And then I saw you take it back. I was like, okay, I see the brother try to slip him. He tried to slip me something.
No, it was a $100 bill. It was like, and he knows that I'm on the federal thing. I mean, he's a nice guy. He spent the end of Ramadan, and he ate up all the food and of course, it's okay for him. And he was nice and friendly. But see, he was out of the federal penitentiary, and he knows that if I were to go to a bank or a store or anything with that thing, that you know what they're going to do. And the Secret Service is the most efficient brand in the government of the United States, not the FBI. The Secret Service to deal with money.
That's true. They do. That is their job. Yeah.
That's their job. I'm talking about, because like if you pass some money down the street, they be there on the spot. The questioning techniques and everything, and following up and snatching after the money. They have to be quick and efficient and effective. So if I would have took that in and I go to the bank the next day to put the money in the bank, well, there it goes. It didn't even look like real money. So I gave it back to him. Then he said, I want to give you some money. I just need some change for it. So I said, what you need back? He said, $35 or something like that, or $65 or something. So he gave it to me, and I got mad. I looked at that, and then I gave it back to him. Then I thought about it. I said, no. Give it back. And then I snatched it, I tore it. So I said, give me another one. The other one, the one that I have now, was just like, I said, this guy cannot be passing this stuff. Because you could see it over there, anywhere, 100 miles away. Anyway, just think about it now. The Ramadans, what we do with Ramadan, we're seeking the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from Ramadan. If people come in and eat and run or don't pray, that's up to them. We're laying out the platform, and that's what we're going to do. If it's 3 or 4 of us here eating, that's fine, no problem. That's what we'll do. We're going to do a Ramadan program, okay? And so that includes food and prayer. Now, our fundraising this time, we're going into another level of fundraising. We're developing a handout and one more DVD to go with what we have. And at night times and what have you, we're going to go out to the different masajid. So we're going to still pray Taraweeh here. Yeah, or we may do 8 rakats and then leave and do the other 3 when we get back to our house or whatever we want to do. But we'll be watching the clock. Now, the way it runs is we I think I read it from the fiqh book to let everybody know that it's not a colored thing we're doing. That the earliest you could pray is not like an hour and a half after the Maghrib prayer. You could pray at an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, now that's what we'll pray at within an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so we'll pray Aisha in an hour and 15 minutes, and then we'll, inshallah, uh, we'll, we'll have a feel for the times we're praying, and if it might be a couple of us go to the place, we don't have to have the whole, and we'll go, and we'll have a flyer, we'll have a DVD or two, and I'm writing it out now, so it'll be self-explanatory, and it'll hopefully touch the hearts of the people. The main thing is to let the people know we're not beggars. The other thing is to let the people know that, look, out of your zakatul fitr, the flyers that we pass out will have two ayats from the Quran. One of them will be outlined specifically. Yeah, this is 273 and 960. Those deal with, if I remember right, making zakat reach those who really, So, okay, we're going to outline in our flyer a little bit about who we are, what we're trying to do, and of course, we're not beggars, we're mujahids. That's the first thing. So now, technically, most people know that, but if we're passing them out at the Taraweeh prayer, after the Taraweeh prayer, we're going to be reaching a whole new group of people. So by the time it's over, we will have reached all the people around us. And in that flyer also, it will be instructing them what we want them to do. We don't want all of their, when we outline in Surah 9, Ayat 60, what zakat is for and who is for, they'll easily recognize us right in that, clearly. And so we want to develop a more respectful relationship with the people. Okay. During Ramadan also, we might be able to get to the leadership at each place. Yeah, and let them know this is what we're doing. And we can let them know too, look, if you don't want us here, this is easier for you. Here's what we're trying to do. We're trying to become organized well enough to aid and assist the Muslims right here in the United States. We're not thinking about just around the corner, but help the Muslims and speak on their behalf. They're not built for speaking on their own behalf. They won't do it. Okay. Yeah, that's the way it is. Okay. So we have to speak on their behalf and act on their behalf. But we want you to help us do this so we will speak on your behalf. We're going to stand up for you. We don't have to stand up for ourselves. We know how the whole thing is working, and all. It's not that we don't care, but we've learned to manipulate the system so well that it responds to us much more than we respond to it. But anyway, we want to do that, and that's a fundraising includes maybe hitting the board of directors and visit, so we won't have some of the things that happened before, And the idea, like it says here, we've stood for you. And yeah, we stood for you. And then, yeah, without your assistance, how do you think that, first of all, how do you think the Zionists feel about us, about As-Sabiqun here in the USA? It's kind of simple. See, because everybody in the area knows who we are already. The people that's been here, okay, they remember the demonstrations, they remember the heyday, what they would call the heyday of As-Sabiqun, black uniforms, da 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 da. Okay, that was surface stuff. Actually, I didn't care about doing that stuff at all. But that's the picture that the people had of Islamic movement, and that's the picture that some of the Negroes had. They were influenced by the Nation of Islam. So if the minister is coming up to speak, they walk up with him. That's what Abdul Malik them was doing, and they'd have people standing. They would have the poor brothers at them long programs standing at the doorways and standing up, like sutra. I said, shoot, I don't need nobody. And the brothers' back would be hurting. I said, man, I ain't doing that. See, that impressed them. So they thought that this is what would impress the immigrants. For them, it was everything was show. Yeah, it was all theatrics. Okay, so I didn't. I'd stand up there by myself and talk. I say, ain't nothing happening here. Okay, so this idea, of course, it helped the anti-Zionist movement or counter-Zionist movement, but institutionalized Zakatul Fitr and Adha. Now, Adha is usually about 62 days after Fitr. So I'll go out to California after Eid al-Fitr and get things rolling out there. And it's a big question whether I might stay out there and do those or, get a little team for out there and hit out there and the brothers could hit here, you know. But we would still have our little food preparation and stuff and we'd. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, we'll work that out. All right. Instruct the masses on how to aid and assist As-Sabiqun without contact. You see that? Without contact. It said institutionalize zakatul fitr, instruct masses on how to aid and assist As-Sabiqun without contact. Can you see that there? Oh, you know what? No, that's okay. If you.
I'm replying back to some of the messages that came through on Facebook Messenger.
Oh, okay. No. You don't have to. But that's. I just.
But I did read through I read through A through D.
Okay, so that's to do without. That we want to make it easy on the people, but we want to get maximum or a high level of benefit from their being in our area and us all being brothers and sisters. So it won't be necessary for some of the people. The less contact they have with us, the better. And believe it or not, we function better without them because we've gotten used to. See, we've got used to being by. So we want to set boss man up. If it's just us, we set boss man up and we be laughing at everything. But if it's people coming in and out and around, this is more Jama'ah is Islam. We're not against it, but we know how to bait the hook and everything for boss man. Without the less help, technically the better. I'm just saying this. I believe we're farther in advance than anybody have ever been in U.S. history on the movement dealing with the government. And also the government is in worse condition now than it's ever been in U.S. history. It's on the trajectory is headed downhill, and they insist on it. I mean,
Comments Biden gave yesterday.
huh?
The crazy comments came out the president's mouth yesterday, talking about regime change in China.
Yeah,
In China, I'm sorry, in Russia.
in Russia, yeah.
I was like, what is this man?
No, it's excellent. He was talking about, yeah, almost. That's the way people was interpreting. We're gonna get rid of the guy. Okay, that's no problem. He tried to walk back, but it was too late. It's no problem. Remember, just as a side statement, you got to remember we would always pause for several weeks or so after these periods, and then we would make a declaration about what it is until it really formulated. But there's several things going on. Number one, they immobilized the cars. Okay, they immobilized the cars, and I think that you will be more isolated. It's not that. It's not that. When we want to get around, we can go on the bus, we can go anywhere, and it'll give them more trouble. But what's happened recently is you ever pop up Indian news, all these newses from all around the world? Okay, and then all those lectures. Right now, I would wait for several months or different periods to make a declaration. If you notice on Ukraine, I was making a declaration within 2 days. One, because of what it is, and all the this is before all the news come out about black people being held up and da 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 da. No, it was clear what had happened. The the U.S. set up the Russians to make a move, and the Russians had been saving gold for long. I don't know if you noticed.
I remember when you talked about that years ago.
Yeah, but they got a move they got to make. So they got a move they got to make. China's been saving gold too. In other words, everybody got since been saving gold in case whatever get funny. I don't care whether it's Bitcoin, that coin, it don't make no difference. You can always depend on gold because if the gold market goes crazy, then the whole financial structure in the world will collide with each other. But anyway, so we started making prognostications right away. Why? Because by the time the black press started coming out and giving ideas about what they thought about this and that and another, we had already declared what it was, that they didn't set up Russia. They didn't force Russia. Now, everybody else in Europe have one picture of Nazis, but the Soviet Union, we say it all the time, if they lost 27 million people, and other people lose 100,000 or 5,000, or some old dumb numbers that don't, but so they got it fixed in their mind. So the U.S. had asked NATO, okay, back in the 90s and all that period, okay, so y'all ain't gonna move up close to Russia, da 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 da. Then they hooked up Poland, then they hooked up everybody. And so now, what's the name and drawing the line? So Ukraine is right next to it. And they know that the U.S. has already built poison gas facilities, all that. This is insanity. And they see, you could imagine how crazy they are, because see, they the only ones listen to their news. Everybody else got their own news services now, and they listen to it and they believe it. Them guys in international news, like from India, okay, if you get, India has good news as long as it's not about Pakistan or China, because Pakistan was part of India, okay, and China have been fighting wars. Both of them been there. India and China have been there for thousands of years. They've always been the biggest economy in the world, except for the last couple of years. They've always been there. They always been neighbors. Okay, so then the dumb United States, even today, they just come out with some more stuff. And they, see, it's like a kid that tells a lie so much. Pretty soon he can't imagine why his parents is punishing him because of the lie he's told, and that he said it so much he believes it. He actually believes the lie. He didn't forget about the reality, and his parents know he lying. Okay, boss man is just anyway. I'll get to some of that as we move along. The checks will have people that do checks will have a little thing. I Not this, but I'm saying this is the check the brother wrote the other day. I had him write it, Clarence Reams and like care of or for Masjid al-Islam. So that means the people in our flyer, it will tell the people that we have had trouble with the government accounts and all that, and any of them that knows that type of stuff will know. We'll tell them, this is what, if you put a check in there, put this. I may even put a sample check on one of the flyers. Anyway, and it's for Masjid al-Islam. Okay. Clean up, cook. Also, we'll be doing a little counteroffensive about the lies about Masjid al-Islam. Well, no, we are not dealing with every. You know what I mean? It's just a few of the main things, and so the counter lies about Masjid al-Islam. That'd be easy, you know. Uh, Let me see what I have here now. Number B. Uh, can't yet. So far. Okay. Form. That's miswritten or something.
No, yeah, you're just saying, you can't yet go so far out in front of the masses that they can't see.
That's right. That's right. Okay. You can see that, for instance, like we've been where we are for like decades. Okay. Brother Ayub could tell you we was talking about science fiction management, like we already got strategic management, and we could talk about science fiction management. Then it would be science fiction to everybody else, but it's not science fiction to us. You know, from everything from attacks to whether they put something in your head or not, whether they do this, whether they do that. Most of what we are aware of, they're doing that. Okay, people can't, a person have to be careful because they will get labeled as paranoid. And then, for instance, all the Negroes that have been around with us and we putting their name out in the street, they're going to say Imam Musa is paranoid and da-da-da-da-da. So here's what we have to do. We have to be patient and develop year in and year out. this repetitive redundancy over and over again. So this is pointed to, is said, and it happens until now. This is a fact in everybody's face. Right now, it's a fact. So nobody could run up and say, Imam Musa is paranoid. I'll just go get the notebook and I'll start running. I can stay here for an hour, half an hour, 5 hours. I could just run. Oh, this is me. This is paranoid, huh? Da, 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 da. Just like Bill Clinton said. He says, just because you're paranoid don't mean they're not out to get you. You know what I mean? But anyway, so to get out, so we have to recycle ourselves into this type of redundancy. There's several things. Number one, the people are not ready yet. I mean, back then. Okay. The world is not ready back then. But everything that we said 20 and 30 and farther back years ago is now apparent to everyone. You got to remember, Zionists have just stepped overboard of everything. They killed Rachel Corrie. They did this. They bomb and kill and they maim Palestinians. They just out of, hey man, they off the chain. And everybody see them. Okay, so now when we talk about Zionist Americanism, everybody see. Excuse me 1 second. This is Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Yes.
I'm calling, brother. I'm trying to find my father. I don't know where he is.
Okay, well, you're calling right in the middle of the class.
Oh, you in the middle of a class?
Yeah,
right
we're
now?
right in the middle of a class right now.
Okay, well, give me a call back when the class is done.
All right. Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Okay.
What's up?
So anyway, I thought that might be the crackpot crew, and I want to invite them to participate, and you know, what the heck. You know, when you whip people to death, you don't have to stand over them. I told you this what I was going to do. You know, you said, hey, you know, let's be on the same team. You see who your master is. You see, just to go back a minute, no matter what we've said, it's all came out just like we said it was, over and over and over again. This time it's just quicker, and it's like everything that we put in talks and lectures is happening to the United States of America all at the same time. They thought that everybody was going to believe all that dumb stuff they say on their news. And everybody is saying, look, they united the Indians. Look, now the Indians has always been kind of dealing with Russia. Okay. They united the Indians, so they have not only the Indians, they have the Chinese, right? They have the Iranians. They have most of the world. See, they got Europe pretending. But the rest of the world, they don't have. They got over half of the world is, if they got India and China and Russia, those are the biggest, that's most of the, physically. Russia is 8 time zones. China is basically the same size as the United States, just like Brazil is. They're all 3 million something, and when they brought Alaska in, that gave them a little extra boost. But China is as big as continental America and bigger. than continental America. When you stick Alaska, that's a big piece of landscape up there. When you stick that on, then it goes, okay. This stuff is hilarious. It's so insanity. And then they're going to have poison gas, whatever they got, all that chemical warfare stuff inside of Ukraine. And everybody know it. And they trying to make, like, everybody's on Russia's team. Like right now, when you watch the news, not the white folks' news here, but especially Indian news, Chinese news, and everybody is just, well, the United States is an empire in decline, but not only empire in decline, but the U.S. finds a way to accelerate its own decline. It hooked up this war with anybody with any sense know, and Putin them been watching it from way back. That's why Russia saved all the gold. China been expecting, that's why they save all the gold. So whatever you do, they got gold. You know, they've been buying the gold on a regular basis, not to affect the price of it. In other words, if they go and just buy $18 trillion worth of gold, that's going to affect the market. But if they get on a regular buying spree where they buy, they didn't count it out. You can see they didn't have, we're going to buy so much, da-da-da-da-da. Pretty soon, they got a big gold supply. So Russia has the biggest gold supply, you know, probably in the world. So you can't do anything to them, not to mention food. Ukraine and most of Russia is like Kansas, man. When you drive through Kansas, all it is wheat. It's wheat. That's the way they are. When 40% of the wheat comes from them, and they're going to sanction them. So now everybody's crying about prices. They're crying about, they won't be able to, the world lives off of bread. Bread is the most common, okay, they can't cook bread. Okay, everybody's still buying Russian oil. And then they making everybody now pay it in rubles. So that boosts up the money. You know what I mean? You got to buy this in rubles. So then they money increased 12% in one day. Anyway, okay. Clean up, cook. Counter lies about Masjid al-Islam. We had, what we were doing, what we are doing, what we have done, is allow for history to catch up with where we are. Because if we go out, they can't see us and we can't see them. We'll get out of the, see, the people have to be able to see us, but they have to be able to see what we're doing. In other words, this is a teaching process. Yeah, it's a teaching process. If we get so far out in front of the people, the masses, it won't compute. So we have to have a slowdown. We have to slow ourselves down. Like, say, this is 20 years ago. This is when all of this is, it's formulated, it's been formulated with a little bit of evolution and revolution and adjustments for that flyer I gave y'all from about 1985, 86, when they stole my accordion folders and all that. Okay. At that time, before then, we were doing standard movement stuff that we know we're going to be opposed by the government, da, 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 da. But we were going and participating and developing, you know, like that it will do whatever it do, but we'll be able to function as a movement. Okay, at that time, 86, that's 35, 36, something like that. That's a while back. We started reformulating. because we had been infiltrated and sabotaged 2 cycles already. From 1980 to 1986, we had 2 cycles totally surrounded, the masjid full of tattleheads, all that. We grew up with that. I mean, as a movement. Okay, so now some of the people have a good program and the program is correct. The only thing is they're out ahead of the people. The people haven't arrived at where they are. So what we did 20 years ago, if you saw some of our old articles, somewhere over the rainbow, we already out there. No, we ready. We ready. We already, in our last articles, you could see we ready to go, but you can't do it. You have to say, hold it, stop, stop, stop. You got to bring the people along. The whole idea is to bring the people along. Now everything we were saying then is common, is acceptable, and the people have to stretch to get up where we are, but they still in their own body. They don't have to stretch so much they fall over. You see what I mean? In other words, to get where we are and what we're talking about right now they have to stretch a little. They can't do what they usually do, but they have to stretch a little, but not so much that they're contorted, and not so far where they're so far out of their comfort zone that they're non-functional. They don't function. Okay, now, where we are now, or where the movement is now, it's not only we're here, but the whole world is here. See, all of those allies, the U.S. forced us on, it made the people take this jump. It forced the people to make the jump. Okay, if they have everything that they do, so the Zionists can grab homes, they can do this, that, and other, they can kill Rachel Corrie and all these other people. So then now the common people are beginning to get aware. Right? Now this is 20 years later when this stuff happened. Okay. They shot a little boy. His father, they was behind a thing, and the father was further behind, and his 12-year-old son was covered a little bit, but the Zionists shot him. I don't know if you remember that. Shot the little boy. This is 20 years ago at least. And the father is just sitting there. This is all on film, and he's crying, and he wanted to reach to his son, and you could see the bullet, psst, 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 and the little boy, okay, now you got to remember, all of that stuff builds up in the people. You got to remember, anti-Zionism used to be a no-no. Right now, the people in Europe, the people everywhere, especially England and all them, hey man, why? They done messed over. They people, this people, that people, and we are not by ourselves. That's what I mean. We had to wait. 20 years ago, this is what this reminder is. And this is what we did. You can see we had to slow down. We was talking about, what was that stuff? Not psychological warfare, but we was talking about, I just mentioned it a minute ago, but we was talking about science fiction management. That's it. Right? That was 15 years ago, right? That was 15 years ago. What does science fiction management mean? If we tell you this stuff, you're going to think we're crazy, and that's all it is. It ain't like that now. It's not like that now, because everybody, is moving right along. The Negroes can see who the Zionists are. There are sister cities with cities in Palestine. Ferguson has a sister city with somebody, right? Everybody knows, okay, the United States, for them to talk about invading somebody when they done invaded Iraq twice, they done sanctioned Iran, they done sold weapons to the poor people. Libya, they wiped it off the map, you know what I mean, and made it a hellhole, right? Okay. And then they get up and talk about, oh, we're against invading other people and all that. And see, you got to remember, nobody challenged them in those days. They said, oh, well, we got it wrong, so we just killed all these people, destroyed their civilization. What the hell, right? Same thing with Syria. Oh, we just come in and blew up everything, and then we'll go home. And we'll take the oil and we'll give it to the people, our friends in Syria, right? They do see manifestation of defects mean that this stuff will eventually come up on the surface where it's not hidden. Emperor with no clothes, right? That's the way the United States is now. And do you watch that Indian news and other stuff? Man, they had a panel on that other day, and the European man came out and said, they do this, that, and other. And everybody said, what? And then you could notice that everybody say the same thing we do now. You in Yemen, you done blew up everybody right now. And then, alhamdulillah, somebody done just hit old Saudis again yesterday. And get ready to, so the oil prices, the destabilization. And it ain't us. Our team is suffering, but they rolling. And now, can you imagine for Iran to be by itself for all of those years and stick to what it was trying to do? Yeah, it don't have to be. So people say, ain't you mad, the Iranians? I said, man, that's 5 or 10 or 6 Iranians. Look at look at what's going on, And as far as the Rahbar is concerned, we say the same thing. Sometimes he might say it a day before I say it, or a day after I done said it, right? But we all saying the same thing, resistance economy, and everybody realized wasn't nobody pushing resistance economy but the Rahbar and a few more people. And now everybody said, man, that was what's happening. And so Iran is independent. They produce everything they need, or most of it.
Now that's what Russia's saying.
Huh?
Yeah, that's what Russia's saying. They're going to prepare for some type of resistance economy.
Yeah. Hey, man, look. And then they make it see like this one, we always use this thing like they used to say, like, this is a trip. It's really a trip. This is like interesting, you know what I mean? I can't wait to get back. Let me see what's on the news. Oh, my goodness, they just did this and they said that. And then, Indian news is kind of like Pakistani news. When I spent time in Iran, the news at that time, it's better now, but it was the party line kind of stuff. But you go next door to Pakistan, see every group have a newspaper and a news channel, and boy, it was exciting. I mean, and they be pie, where they throw pies in each other's face and all that. That's the way it is in Pakistan. And India is their neighbor, and they are all very close. You ever notice how the Indian news is? And if they don't like somebody, they don't even pretend at all. Like that nice looking lady, boy, she talks so good about some stuff, but when she get on China and when she get on Pakistan, I said, that's the lionest woman in the world. I never, why, how could she look so nice and be such a, well, I mean, I know her, but I'm just, boy, that is the fattest lie. And they do it normally. You know what I mean? But, and they scandal mongers, you know, they scandal sheet news. But when they hit it right, like now, and then they be hollering a lot. You ever see they be hollering and turning over the table? You shut up. You can't do this. I said, boy, let me get me some Indian news. So I really kind of, but what are they? No, we're with the Soviet. We're with Russia. Russia was with us, da 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 da. And then almost like all that, because they thought they had India in their back pocket. It don't look like it to me. Man, I don't know. When they get, you know how people flip. When they flip all the way over. And if you take the world, if you take China, 1.4 billion people, you take India, 1.2 or 3 billion people, you take Russia, 8 time zones. Ocho, 8 time zones. And several hundred million people. You basically got all of that world. And all of them got friends. You see what I mean? Now, okay, I know we've been talking about it all the time, but this is the manifestation of defects. This one is it. And we've been talking for several months about this. Stuff is getting a little close. I mean, these incidents is getting close together, and they're big. This is a big event. Okay, that's what we're still on the front page there. Go clean up, cook, counter lies about Masjid. This thing about you can't get so far out in the front of the people where they can't see you is what we've been dealing with. That you can't get so far out there in front of the people that you're not relating to the people's lives. And that's why we had to slow down. We've been on this otherworldism stuff for a long time, but we had to pause. And in that pause, we use all of this period to train and retrain redundancy. You know what I mean? And that's why all the terms we use is because out of the right thing to do and out of necessity. That in order to hold ourselves back from getting so far in front of the people, we have to have a policy of redundancy. But it's evolutionary redundancy. Every time we go over a thing, it's not the exact same thing. We go over something, it might be 1.1. The other time we go over it be 1.3. The other time it might be 2. It's the same thing. But it's the lectures we give is the same basic lecture. We said it before, it'll be 5 basic patterns. But time is changing so fast that each one of them are relevant when we say it. You see what I mean? Okay. So anyway, convince boss man, Zionist masters, that you are irrelevant. In other words, they are irrelevant. They try to convince us that we're irrelevant, but they're irrelevant. You know what I mean? As a convinced boss man. Yeah. Zionist masters and the Zionist masters, all them Daniel Pipes, them. Oh, I can't wait to get them on the program. If just to wear them out.
I was talking to my son yesterday. He was talking to an individual about As-Sabiqun.
Right.
So of course everybody goes to the phone and look at okay, what's As-Sabiqun?
Right.
And the first thing that came up
Right.
on Google was the Anti-Defamation League and their analysis
Yeah.
of As-Sabiqun.
Right.
So he knows the community,
Right.
but he wasn't expecting that.
Right.
And now he has to try to explain that to this other person.
Right. Right.
And so, I just thought I didn't know it because I had never looked it up.
Oh no, no, no! Look, look, look! Everything is wonderful. Like it's wonderful, and it's been wonderful. When I run off from America and I went to Algeria, Pete O'Neill was head of security. He took a picture of me, and then we went through all those changes. I was over in South America for a couple of years, eh, eating vegetables and fruit salads. They had and all that stuff. That's all I ate. So I done trimmed down. I'm skinny, and my face is all friendly looking. So he gave me a picture when I first came over, because when you come over there, he was head of security, so they'd have to take a mug shot, and then they put you in a file. They keep a file of you. So he had all the files, so he said, look at that. And I'm just as mad and mean. You could tell I'm mad and mean. He said, boy, look at you now. In other words, but you could see, not like, what's the name? He reads hearts. What's his name? Bush? Not Bush. He read Putin's heart. One of them presidents.
Oh, Biden.
Huh?
Biden said that.
Yeah.
He saw his soul.
It saw his heart, his soul. I said, that boy is reading that. He's a Sufi. Anyway, so what I'm saying is you could see people, sometimes you could see inside just by looking at the outside. You can. So I got here on the next page is Crackpot Coalition. We don't have time to do with that, but it's Crackpot Coalition is, look, man, all the crackpots is all on one team. And see, the force of the momentum, like the U.S. is still acting like it's in charge of everything. It's emperor of no clothes 100% or 99%. Like their news, you ever watch their news? It's entirely different than everybody else's. Like right now, I won't watch. I don't even want to hear it because, I watch a little bit of Gephardt and a little bit of the old sissy man, and then anyway, just every now and then you gotta. Usually, I make sure NPR and everybody. I don't even want none of it right now. It's ridiculous. And then I done substituted them for now I'm addicted to Indian news, Pakistani news, because see, everybody got them news channels. And you can sit right there and pull up what everybody's saying, and ain't nobody, they news don't sound like, and that's to all them billions of people. See, they reaching a few million people over here, and they think that we're running the show. They're running the show with a few million people, right? And everybody else, they got the biggest. See, it's one thing for Iran to survive all that stuff by itself for all those decades. But now, remember we was talking about strategic alliances? This is strategic alliance plus. Because see, now they jumping on them. And China already know, hey, you got the Taiwan issue, you got the Hong Kong issue, and we know where you're coming from. And China is playing big game. But people forget till you watch some of those things, the Chinese media, strategy of war, Sun Tzu's and all of them, and analectics of Confucius, all that stuff. See, to realize that all those people have been here for thousands of years, they've been here and they've been doing stuff If you take China, they've been doing what they do for 4,000 years. Just they've been doing that. Before they were still there as human beings, but for 4,000 years, that's way back in Babylon. You know, that's when Ibrahim was. That's the same time. 4,000 years ago is when the Hanging Gardens of Babylon was going on, and China was big already. They was already big. You see what I mean? Okay. When Egypt was big, they was already, everybody that was big then, they was big already. They went through human cycles. You can see can you tell when we watch those Chinese programs that they've been around a while. They've been around a while and they perfected and that really, that put a seal on for a lot of things like 120,000 prophets and all that. Well, but when you listen to what they big people were saying, it's all there. Everything was ethics, akhlaq, everything was ethics. Morals, all right, all military strategies. Good God Almighty. Everybody, okay, now one thing Rouhani said when he was talking about Trump, he called him a rogue newcomer for the, at the UN. He said, we got these rogue newcomers, instead of calling it a rogue state. But anyway, happy today. Idea of happiness in the good old days. Well, this is about a happiness type of thing. Everybody always talk about, or they think about, a lot of people think about when they was younger, when they was doing this, how happy they was. But that's reframing what they was. When they was living through that, they wasn't happy about nothing. They was halfway paranoid, about my grades not gonna be any good. I got a crush on this girl and she like so and so. They wasn't happy. They were just young, right? Tell the truth. They ain't had enough sense to be happy. I know I didn't, and you know what I mean? It's too many things. You're not mature yet. You know what I mean? You don't know yourself yet. That's why know yourself, know your enemy, 1,000 battles style. You know what I mean? You don't know yourself when you're young. But when you think back about it, man, that was down. Man, it was so nice. But that's reframing our own history. You know what I mean? And not only we do it, everybody do it. When I look at it and I look at my old pictures, I said, man, this time is so much better. Because I could calculate, I said, in 1970, I had about 3 or 4 good days out of that whole year. Because police are doing that, the niggas are stealing over here. You know what I mean? And you may be getting rich and everything, but it's like Hollywood. You're getting rich and famous, and everybody know you, but life is, it's now this is serious, man. This is sweet as candy. They can say what they want. Life now, and it goes back to, when you do certain things, you get the right compensation for it. What was that lecture we always get on contentment? If you do these things, make it your hobby, make it your leisure. That's what we do. You can tell when we talk that this is a hobby. It's not, we gotta do this. This is a hobby. Like, oh, I like doing this. It's a hobby. You make it fun, and then number one, you like doing it, and then this is where you get contentment from. From you working and struggling, and you're getting everything you want from that. And then the Prophet peace be upon him saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to lock up the door, basically till you're happy. You ain't going to have no money. You may have tons of money, but ain't going to be no happiness in it. You're going to be scared somebody going to steal the money. Or you're going to, you know what I mean? Yeah, hey, so they can say what they want. Only thing we talking about, and it's not accidental. See, we looked at movements and we looked at everybody, and we looked at good friends of ours, and we studied life, them, and everything. And we have one friend. He got, you know, if, actually, him and I have a kind of a special relationship because we was talking about movement and stuff. Or we, they ask, well, how's things going? And he's a southerner too. In fact, he's down in Louisiana. That's real close to Arkansas. Actually, next door. Might as well be the same place. So I was telling him basically what my approach was. His was different. Uh, our goals wouldn't be different, but how we dealt with people and events and certain things, it was definitely different. And then when you get a certain age, you realize if that's the way Allah made you, you better go that way, and you better not force yourself into. So whatever he was, that's what Allah gave him. So he did what was, and then so I was telling him about it. He said, yeah. Said, so Bruh Rabbit and Bruh Bear. That's all he said. Now, we understand. Anybody know those, you know? Yeah, but it's true. And when I go run in the hills in California, I see it because the rabbits, there's bushes and everything, and the little bitty rabbits running there, and and okay, so Bruh Bear then called Bruh Rabbit, and Bruh Rabbit said, "Oh, please don't throw me in that briar patch, the berry bushes. Please don't throw me in there." And old dumb Bruh Bear, that's what he did. He threw him home, right where the rabbit got his little rabbit holes in there, and the little cutouts, and okay. Now, boss man, it's the same thing. He could see what my tactics was, and I could see his, although we didn't talk in detail about it, tactics, but they have some people can't laugh at themselves. You know what I mean? They have a healthy, not a healthy, yeah, they have a healthy ego, and they have a self-framed picture of what they are. You know what I mean? And they're not going to let you do certain things. Okay. And this long range struggle, you can't be too fixed. It's like we're going to have fixed locations, fixed pill boxes, fixed, you know what I mean? And then you can find out where they are and blow them up. Okay. And kind of that might have been what's happening, where we might have been flexible. And the same thing that was realized from one statement is that would be the key to what we use. Bruh Bear, Bruh Rabbit, please don't throw me in the briar patch. Well, if you're raised in prison, you always go into the hole, you're always isolated, you're always cut off, and it's part of your nature, and you know that. Everybody else wouldn't want that. So you, boss man, oh man, don't isolate, don't cut me. You gonna cut me off, boss man? You go. Oh my goodness, you gonna fill up the masjid for? Oh lordy, lordy, lordy. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. And that's what's happened, and that's why we remember everything is from Allah. But to know yourself and know what you got in you, and know that you have to be brave. You have to be brave. You got to say, I have people that they have stuff in them and they're not, they just try to hide it. One of my favorite persons I watch is Abdul Malik. he has certain things in him, and he want to keep them hid. He don't want you to know that because he don't think it's, da 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 da. You can't hide it. Hell, everybody can see that. People gonna find out what it is sooner or later. Especially your girlfriends and your wives, they gonna find out in about an hour and 10 minutes. I don't care how much you cover it up. And if you get out of line, that's the button they're gonna push. Right? I mean, that's why, anyway, it's a long story. So now, this idea of happiness in the good old days, we just talked about that. I have 7.5% here. 7.5% is right in the middle between 10% and 5%. So at this period, what we're trying to do is, from the Negro community, is 7.5% commitment. Anywhere between 5 and 10 is fine. Commitment means that everybody should keep their job, keep doing what they're doing, but boss man cannot recognize a shift of between 5 and 10% commitment. It's not enough. And if the Negro graduate 1, 2%, 3%, 4%, and they graduate to that point of 7.5% over a year or 2 or 3, boss man can't notice the shift. That means a level corporation, And according to our estimation, we can whoop the pants off boss man with that level of commitment. People, hell, keep their job. They should keep their job or do what they do. It don't make no difference. And that, I don't believe is asking too much. After all, hell, it's everybody's life is involved. They got wife and kids. They got families. Hell, you don't trust the boss. Hell, boss man, it won't be another 2 weeks. I mean, he'll be here, but it don't look too good. I mean, and there's nothing we can do. We've been saying this all the time. But sooner or later, you realize, maybe now, for the last 100 years, you realize even when you can cut off the ring with boss man, when you get agile and when you get to all that stuff, evolutions, revolution, global transitions, and all that stuff, it takes organization and movement. It takes people, it takes people. And the good thing about it is, if the people are consciously committed to it, because some people get frustrated and they use like Creflo Dollar in it, Creflo Dollarism. You know what I mean? And see, and if you wonder, how do the lying Negroes get all the money and all the publicity and all of that? So if you want to help people, I'm not going to do that. They can keep it. If I'm already happy now, I don't need to be any happier. So I'm not. If the house is full, I'm happy. If the house is empty, I'm happy. It don't make no difference. So it takes a long time to learn. I am not going to change what seems to be a functional evolutionary system. That every time you get to a gate or a fence, the right wind come along to boost you over, or it's the right step is there to help you step over. You know what I mean? Okay. And so this number of 7.5% is enough. So Hey man, this is a big deal. It's not only a big deal, but it's a good deal too. Is it a little air? I mean, a little heat? Are you?
I did, and it didn't turn over.
Well, a little bit warm. Maybe just push it up a little. I mean, I could feel it more. Cause see, I'm sitting here. This you can see this wind blowing here on my feet, but it looked like everybody getting a little chill, huh?
Yes, I went back there and cut it on. I thought I heard it click on, and then
Well, anyway, uh, this is a crucial. This is a crucial thing. This 7.5%, and this is like not only this is across the board. This is one of those we're using standard numbers now. We've always said that we expected that there's a certain amount of the federal government that are pulling for us. I mean, for the last 40 or even more years, I could always feel it's not the devil and the angel, but I could always feel the presence of forces. You know what I mean? I could feel the presence of forces that they're making a certain amount of cocaine available because they feel if we and that's so there. There's another group there. They're saying they all police. Let's just kill this nigga and get it over with. And that's their discussion back and forth. I'm not seeing it, but I've been feeling the presence of that conversation for decades, at least 40. I would say close to 50 years, maybe even a little more. I've been feeling the presence of that because I've always realized that I was always on their screen. You know what I mean? That I wasn't like invisible and that ain't nobody paying no attention. Okay, so anyway, yeah, just push that ball on up. Sometime when you click it off and click it back on, it'll kick in. Yeah, but anyway, uh, this 7%, 7.5%, uh, we have here Negro commitment. And well, it's okay. We'll just freeze through it with it, you know.
I don't know, but I'm wondering when they was changing those filters, that had
Yeah, he was changing the filters, but it worked for a minute. So what? We'll just freeze to death. It worked yesterday, and it just worked, and it worked today. Yeah, it just worked today. Technically, that don't make no difference. If you remember way back, we sit up in here and froze to death, and 97, 98, and all that, and they put the pole up. They were supposed to come November and put the pole and the 6,500 we paid them to put the electricity, so it would push that machine back there, and they didn't come, and they came right now in the spring, yeah, when we didn't need it. And we froze to death that winter, boy. And the poor little kids was running around here bumping their heads. Remember when they used to bump their head? I used to say, oh my God. It would sound like watermelons, you know what I mean? You know when they hit they hit the concrete floor and go pop like God. Oh, he's not dead. He's not. Oh. And the kids, you couldn't stop them. As soon as they hit that door, especially when we got the carpet in here, it was like a big gym. I could imagine how big this. And all they did, they started running, and they would never stop. And then when we get there to get in the line to pray, okay, they'd try to be quiet for a minute. But as soon as we lined up and said Allahu Akbar, they know that's a sign. You can't. There ain't nobody gonna break ranks to catch us. So they. Alhamdulillah, it was lively here. No, the kids loved to come to the masjid, and the school people hated to leave. Anyway, we'll speed up since the consumer news or newsmakers. we have to be both. Some people are news consumers; they're always watching the news. So we believe in both of them. We have to be news consumers to get the feel for wherever, but the day-to-day feel. Although we don't technically need a lot of news because we have a formulated program, and all you have to do is go back every now and then and check where you are, how fast you're going. You know what I mean? But to explain the present, you have to consume a lot of news. But not only consume news, but now we have to do more news making. That's what we're getting in the, like, we went through periods of news making before. But we just take it easy a while. Now we'll be back to news making in combination with news consumers. I was going to talk about some of this stuff, but it is getting a little chilly. Manufactured famine, wheat, oil. Hey, man, just think about it. Russia is 42% of the wheat and everything come from Russia and Ukraine. And from those, all the countries need it, especially African countries. They need it, okay? And the U.S. is telling everybody, y'all sanction them and y'all starve to death. That's what it means. Including the Europeans. Hey, I got some gas over here. We get you some stuff like that. Plus, you don't need much now. The winter's almost over. But they still got to cook. They got to do this. And the petrol prices will be equivalent in Europe to $10 a gallon. There's so much a liter. They getting close to $10 a barrel over there. I mean, $10 a gallon. How can you do anything? Like, imagine a person have a regular job. How are you going to get your car license? How are you going to pay your rent? Years ago, when I was paying rent was 1/4 of your salary. Right. If you paid $100 a month, like, in 65 or $110, you made on your job $100 a week. Yeah. So it was 1/4, 25. Now they tell me it's half plus. And what are people going to eat? And then it gets cold and you got all these, good God, if you're over here, you got to pay the gas bill. If you're out in California, you got to pay another bill, the transportation bill, $6 or $7 a gallon for gasoline. Good God Almighty. It's a money grab, but see, that's what accelerates it, because the people get to feel, hey man, the rich are getting richer and they're sucking us dry. So you don't hear all of this, we love chip, chip, chip America anymore. People saying, man, these forever wars that y'all done got us into, and everybody come back crazy. Everybody, and 22 people a day dying, and they all veterans from some dumb war. No. Okay, that's the manifestation of defects. Manufactured famine. So wheat has got to go up for bread. Oil is already, this is the first time it's been over 100, and it's over 110, and one of them is 120. The sweet oil is 120, and you don't know what it's going to be tomorrow, but it's going. That's expensive. When everybody was cruising along last year at $60 a barrel. And now it's double that. Plus, oh no. And Sam's still talking out the side of his mouth. And everybody, like they used to say, they're going to sanction everybody at all those people's expense. The United States is not going to suffer. It's got Kansas, it's got wheat, right? It's got that old cheap oil, it's got that all that. Yeah, it'll be fine. Now imagine how they're making the Europeans, because see, we don't believe it's like they say. We have information that say that the Europeans is mad as HELL, and they said, boss man, you get us in all this and you just gonna, you know, hey man.
Because I know the fertilizer got cut off too.
And don't forget about the
Fertilizer comes out of Russia as well.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, no, definitely. The fertilizers, petroleum.
Farmers here need that.
Of course, yeah, well, for their policy, they're going to screw up the whole world, and they'll have the whole world inside of America and outside of America mad at them, not at Russia. Anyway, this is what we've been talking about all the time, but the only thing is it be happening in spurts, and this one, it just real quick and bam, and everything is evident. So hey, this is our, and everything is in it. Everything is in it. The package is packed with racism. You can't. We ain't got no room on this train for niggas. We don't have no Nigeria, all y'all, and Indians either. And you can imagine how mad the Indians are because they think they're honorary. They want to be honorary Euros in a way. And they got that big media, and they're mad as HELL. You know, and wait a minute, we was bringing money to your country, Ukraine. When you take Sensu, they're not on welfare there in Ukraine. They hooking up the country. Anyway, so glory days, okay, we'll get into that later. Introduction, future management, leadership, directional, all that stuff we'll be talking to people about. Talked a little bit about Imam Jamil, Bro Rabbit, and Bro Bear. Strategic alliances, yeah, we talked about those. And this thing, strategic alliance, this is a springboard to a global alliance. Everybody was semi-aligning, but now this Ukrainian issue then really pushed everybody together, you know. And their alliance is kind of weak and tattered. And that alliance over there, and then the U.S. don't remember about people of color and all of that. So Chinese, whether you believe it or not, they're people of color. And Indians are people of color. And everybody except them, you know, is people of color. So, you know, these people, they push, when you head it down, you push the exact, when it says ground floor, you push the right button every time. That's the way they are now, ground floor. And there it go. You're not taking the stairs, this is headed down. Okay, Zionist diabolical agent orange type stuff. Okay, in Palestine they're using defoliage like that old Agent Orange stuff to kill the crops of Palestinians. The Zionists do all that. Oh my goodness! All they orchards of olive trees, and they're gonna pay for that. They can't. They getting away with that. But you already see what the Zionists do when they have power. They won't be able to come when it hit everybody, which is hitting them now. They do that. How can they be against the UN and everybody that? Oh, because we're Zionists. They're gonna say, "Oh, that's serious." Okay. Let's see. Zionist diabolical Agent Orange type stuff in Palestine, and days of resistance. You notice everybody is picking up the idea of resistance. All the Muslims and everybody's resistance is resisting, and they use it in Lebanon. They are and have been resisting. They use it in Yemen, and they are. And I don't believe all them lies they say about Iran is sending all that stuff to them so they could push a button and blow up everything in Saudi Arabia and scare them to death. Yeah, I don't go for all of that. No siree. I think they might develop their own stuff. And that stuff, that modern destructive stuff is easy to develop. Farmers use it for spraying crops and watering their feet. You know what I mean? No, I watched like how they do on Chinese farms now. They had them little four propeller. They go out, they measure this, they smell everything. I said, dog, what happened to the jumping on the tractor and the mules and going down the rows? They don't do that no more. They leave the stuff in the ground and plant over it so that the soil keeps the moisture in. I said, that's pretty good farming there. Because they used to plow. If you plow up everything, it turns it over, it dries out, the sun right in a minute. And they used to do that when they didn't know any better. But now they just holes in there, and guess what? All the stuff that's died is on top of the earth, and it keeps the moisture in, takes less water, and it don't dry out. Anyway, hey man, strategic alliances is a springboard to global alliance. I'll just leave it at that. So everybody is now forming these alliances, whether it's Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Lebanon, Afghanistan, and they're doing exactly the wrong thing in all these places. So you Afghanis, see you later. We got to go in front of everybody. Hey man, uh,
And then take their money.
yeah, and keep it. Yeah, and don't give it back either. Or they might give it to somebody that they don't like, that don't like them, and they don't get along.
They gave it to the 9/11.
Was it half of it or something like that?
Something like that. This is see, okay, that's but you gotta remember, you gotta have the bully just act stupid. That's what they're doing. They're acting stupid, you know, and that's good. Saudi axis they cannot win this, can't win this go around. That's all I got. Okay, and the last part, uh, idea whose time has come. If you got to trust the people, will find a way. The leaders say, "Okay, we got Zionist Americans number. We done already mentioned about. We can, and this is not arrogant. We whoops the Zionists. We never lost. Whether it's UC Berkeley, whether it's Irvine, whether it's on TV, whether it's this old stupid man in New York. What's his name? We don't lose. We do them like that all the time, and in person we do worse than there. And everybody be on our side, because in a private conversation he's saying, "So you used to be a drug dealer?" I said, "Yeah, I used to deal a little cocaine, a lot of it, South America, yeah." And I was watching the camera crew. all them, that's what they do. And I would be talking about it. I said, yeah, high quality cocaine. I said, you could taste it, that it drain is good. I said, I had the best blow in California and would have got over here if it wasn't for Boss Man, your neighbor. Anyway, and all the camera people, you know what I mean, how they not hippies, but you could tell, and I got into it more. Their eyes getting big. I wish I had some. You ain't got none of that now, do you? They didn't say that, but that's what they was. You know what I'm saying? And that fool sitting there, and anyway, we got Zion America's number. Idea formulated 35 plus years ago. We've been doing it straight. At this stage, Sabiqun, well, we formulated a lot of what we're doing right now after the Sabiqun conference because the people messed up and acted so funny that we said, okay, we're going to change this. Sabiqun unchanged. We are where we are. We're where we're supposed to be at the time we're supposed to be here. In other words, we feel very comfortable where we are. If it's 3 of us here, we feel comfortable with that. We're happy with that. That's fine. Okay. And I just close with this. It's an honor to live to see the predictions realized of everything that we said. Because you got to remember, we come from a background where most of the people, it's only 2 guys that's still alive that was in some of the heat of the stuff, and even the people that was in the semi-criminal activity with black overtones, they're leaving and they're gone and going fast. So to be alive and well, get around all right, I think it's best to thank Allah for that kind of stuff, that you look at other people and they're not getting around as well. And you get around pretty well at 77. We just say Alhamdulillah. You know what I'm saying? And then can remember, a lot of people can't remember their birthday. I do forget a little bit, but it ain't nothing. Now, what did we say about it? But it's funny because, I'll close with this. When my father was even younger than I was, because I was 12, he wanted something done and he kept looking at me. He was trying to remember my name. And finally he said, boy, go do this, And I didn't know what was happening until I got older. I said, he was there. I'm his son, and he called that name 100 times a week, but it didn't click. Who is this nigga here? So finally he said, boy, go do this and go do that. He just called me boy. He knew that's what I was. I was a boy, And he never called me a boy before, but he called me that time. So actually, and I will close with this. I was just listening to a program on the radio. It was about centenarians and people are living older now, but older where they functional. You know what I mean? So when I was talking about I want to live to be 100 so I can get this done and that done, well, shoot, that ain't no big deal now. In fact, that's almost the common. It's becoming almost common. It is common. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Hey man, and you got to remember, see what they went through to get there is different than what somebody, a school teacher from Connecticut and the health plan, you know what I mean, from when they was little babies and they went through all that, and then we come up picking cotton and getting bit by snakes and stuff. Well, I mean, there's no complaints. But anyway, alhamdulillah. So again, we'll close with this idea that we appreciate everything that's come our way. That means what people would classify as good or bad, we don't classify it like that. We classify it as the qadr of Allah. This is what was sent our way, and we're happy that we're able to deal with it, and that we like to deal with it. We want to deal with it, you know. Yeah, so alhamdulillah. Are there any questions or comments?
There was one question. My brother said that he said it seems that the Israelis aren't on board with the sanctions against Russia. He said he thought that the Israelis and Boss Man were boys.
No, the Israelis basically are not on board with it. But you got to remember, 25 or 30% of the people in Israel are Russians. I mean, they just got there.
I didn't know that.
No, most of that's half of the people, and they're Ashkenazis, so that means they running things. The Russian Jews, yeah, they are. So, yeah. So the people, they got to kind of go along with some of the nationalisms type of thing. Yeah, and then all of them still got relatives back there, and they telling them. And then remember the Russians. Imagine if the not Zionists, but if the Nazis was killing Jews and Russians. Suppose you're a Russian and a Jew, you ain't got a chance. And if you look at some of the things that they did, a couple of the guys was famous. You know, they got Pushkin and Rachmaninoff and all them people. Russians, they big folks. And you see what they did to their libraries. You see what they did to their homes and all of that when they was swooping across. So, yeah, no, some of them, when things fall apart, a lot of cracks going to show all over the place, and that's just one of them.
That one was surprising. Yeah, it surprised me when I saw it. A brother did say, or just a comment, he was saying, important issue, zakat. You know, the talking about the zakat, who qualifies, who doesn't. I guess the brother expressing appreciation. And then another brother comment, tell it, bro.
Oh no, alhamdulillah. No, we are. Look, it don't make no. If anybody wants to know the joy of resistance, and even if it's by yourself, suppose everybody over there is drowning. They're all in a big group and they're all hanging out. They drowning, stuff falling on over, and you over here by yourself or your little crew, and there's a nice breeze over there. Everything is nice. But they all over there and everything is falling on them. They tripping over it, right? And they know they tripping. They know. And that's the way it is. See, all the people that was with us, their lives don't look like a whole lot of fun. Especially, they got to turn on the news and hear what we've been telling them all the time. They got to come by the Masjid sometime and it's still open. And we're happy in here, like if it's us, if it's so, suppose there's several hundred people in here. It don't make no difference to us. Well, it don't make no difference to me, right? That's unbelievable. Man, look, I don't want to get on this Islamic thing, but I'm telling you, if you do right, all that stuff it say about contentment, and I done had everything they had in the dunya, all of it. I mean, really a lot of it too. And let me walk by the table, and they got contentment over here and all that boogaloo over there. Watch and see what I take. See, that's the beauty of having it and not see, because if that stuff looks so shiny and so attractive. If you've never had it, you just think that's got to be it. But look at everybody that's got all of that. And I'll close with this. Hollywood are the best looking people out of the whole people that we collect together. They look the best. Right? So, okay. In Hollywood, they make enough money where they get everything materially that you would like. They have friendship things, whatever they call them, with 1 million people on them, followers, right? They got fan clubs. In the old days, they had fan clubs. We are a fan. We love you. We would just be happy if you just come by and wave. We'll talk for months to our friend. So-and-so waved at me, right? And they're unhappy, and they crazy as a Betsy bug. A lot of them people that have and look at you take the average Negro, the average Pakistani, or average anybody, they like them nice looking yellow people. And in Iran, they like them light Turkish looking. They got every group got a hair and a thing that they like. And the Indians is Aryans and Dravidians. The Aryans are like Iranians, lighter. Indians are darker. Everybody, I don't know when that stuff come in. But once you slide up on a couple of those people, you'll technically feel sorry for them. Why is they all unhappy? The most beautiful women or the most handsome men, everybody expects so much about them. So if they get in the bed together and the guy performs normally, what's wrong with you? And he's trying to live up to something. I got that on the screen. I'm a human being. You can't transpose what you saw. And the beautifulest woman that everybody drooling at the mouth, and they say, you feel like the same as all other girls. So, well, I am. What is wrong? But they done sold her as that. And after a while, she got to believe it, and everybody is crazy. That's the same thing in standard. The Negro get these certain ladies, and they just ladies, and they just, half of them is kind of a little spinoff. They spin off because, no, they crazy. They not really crazy, but they act that way because the people done told them that you are the da, right? And they don't feel like that. And when they have to act like that, it starts to just scrub all the humanness out of you. And they be depressed. They spend more time depressed. And some of the prettiest girls are depressed. He said, because I look so good that people are afraid to talk to me and hit on me like all other, hey, good, what you doing? Da, 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 da. I look so beautiful that they're afraid. They're intimidated by my beauty. So I ain't got no friends. Because ain't nobody going to come, hey, where you going in there? What you doing? Hey, what you got in that? That they do everybody else. But she's so way out there, and she's the loneliest one in the whole crowd, Or the other girls is mad at her because everybody stopped to talk to her. And I see these people like you see a group of girls want to be a tar baby, it'd be a normal, and then there'd be one that kind of looked like the standard of beauty. And they never, right today, go to the little Sambo-looking girl first. This is, and this is 2000 something other, but they still doing it. It might as well be school days all over again. Okay, is that all? Okay, alhamdulillah. So, yeah, this week what we're gonna spend a little time. Are we all cleaned up on everything? How about over? Okay, so we get over there. What I'm gonna do is be cleaning up the little stuff, and I'm gonna. It looks like he just brought some of the stuff. Maybe one day this week we can go out to the other place. I go to the other place. No, Restaurant Depot's up there. I go to. Yeah, whatever it is, we go out there, get forgetful. I go there all the time, but that's what is one of them. No, we go out there, yeah, and we want to get a few stable things that we have, and we look forward to getting ready for. Even though you plan way ahead for Ramadan, when it gets up on you, it just be done slipped up on you, and you look up, man, how does it get here so fast? So anyway, we look forward to a beautiful Ramadan, and we expect to have one. We don't know how many people will be coming or going, but we're gonna have a nice show right here. And so we're gonna prepare our food as usual, and we're going to have our Eid as usual, and we're going to have our Taraweeh as usual, and we'll fit it all in, and with Allah's help, we'll be all right. Okay. Is that it, basically?
Right. I know we're supposed to be reaching out to some of these board director types. Was you going to give me a template to write, or?
No, I'm going to give, what I'm going to do right now, I might even take off this evening, but I'm going to write out an introduction. I'm going to write that out. Okay. And I waited to this period of time because, like, sometime when you wait a period of time, everything crystallizes and it looks clearer. That's why gonna have a meeting on Tuesday night. I put it out Wednesday and then Thursday, and Thursday is clear as a bell because it's anyway. So